Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this session titled Youth, Jobs, and the Future of Transportation. And you can read it in the different screens. My name is Seina Busako. I'm a Director of Strategy and Operation in the Office of our Managing Director of Operation. So it has a bit of a global coverage, and I'm delighted and excited to be here today with all of you. Let me begin by highlighting the role of transport as a major driver of job creation, entrepreneurship, and economic growth. The reason why you have me here is because I happen to have been in a country not long ago of Africa, and we talked a lot about that potential of youth, of entrepreneurship, and started thinking the role that transport could have in that context. But I know that I'm in a friendly audience for that. You do not need any convincing. So it's going to be super interesting to hear from the fabulous panel we have today, the role that youth can play actually in the industry, in shaping it, in helping launch innovative mobility solution, and to create new employment pathway. As many of you might know, the bank is focusing a lot on youth, and this is the perfect opportunity to bring these two sides together. So in today's session, we will explore scalable solutions that are geared to expand youth participation in the sector of transport. We will focus on three main topics, and it's going to go very fast. Transport industry at the forefront of job opportunities for youth, leveraging innovation and new technology for greater youth participation, especially in the context of not today just, but also the future of transport solution. And finally, public-private partnership to foster job creation and green and resilient transport solution. We know that the public cannot do it by itself. It has to use the private sector. How do we have that? But for this exciting conversation, I have the immense honor to have a fabulous panel with me, and I will take a minute to introduce them. They are experts, they are change maker, and in different parts of the world. I want to start by Claudia Diaz. Claudia is the Secretary of Mobility in Bogota, Colombia. Then we have Anna Fodorenko here. Anna, welcome. And Anna is the Deputy Head of the Board of the NGO Foundation for Institutional Development in Ukraine. Welcome, Anna. Then we have my former colleague and now Professor of Practice of International Economics at Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, Mary Hallward-Dreimer. Mary, welcome. Then we have Fernanda Ibizarro Rodriguez-Rujnik, Executive Secretary at the Regulatory Agency for Delegated Public Transportation Services of the state of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Welcome. And finally, we have Made, who's Vikananda, Senior Program Lead for Electric Mobility for the Electric Mobility Program at WRE Indonesia. Welcome, Made. So we will have a fabulous discussion, but before we get to it, I have to turn to our keynote speaker, Dami Lola. Dami. Let me say a few words to introduce you. Damilola Olukesusi is a co-founder and CEO of Shuttlers, Nigeria's leading shared mobility startup. A chemical engineering graduate, she founded Shuttlers almost 10 years ago to transform urban mobility, and she also launched She Moves in 2020, an all-female shuttle service. And we know the intersection of transport, women, and getting to jobs safely. She's considered one of the most influential women in mobility in Africa and beyond. Damilola, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope we have a number of youth here because this message is for the youth. And if what I would need from you is to please make sure you speak to at least one or two young people around you. Because as I prepared for this session, I thought to speak directly to the youth. And when I was preparing for this keynote, I thought to myself, there's infinite information online, especially with ChatGPT. So what information would I bring here that you can't find online? And I decided to bring my own personal story. 16 years ago, at the age of 19, I gained access to information at a program. I'd never heard the information I heard before, which I've not learned that in school as well. It changed my perspective on life. I became very aware of my existence, and I decided to make my life count while here on earth. Questions like what my mission was, my vision, my purpose, stirred up an awakening within me. I decided to be part of my country's solution and not adding to my country's problems. I didn't know how, but my mind was made up. I'm sharing this with you because there are a number of attributes I've cultivated along the way, besides my technical skills. And one of them is a can-do spirit. Creating value in any industry starts from the mind. Your mindset, your approach, and perspective on life are the foundations of any innovation. This is where it began for me. I was determined, filled with hope for the future, even when it was difficult given my environment. I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and convinced that I would be part of the positive change, and I was willing to give it whatever it took. Fast forward to today, Shutler's existence is proof that ordinary people like myself can do extraordinary things. Shuttlers was founded in 2016, a platform that provides scheduled bus and car sharing solutions for daily commuters in Nigeria. We enable about 10,000 people daily through our tech-enabled shared mobility platform. Since we launched, commuters have completed almost 10 million trips in the last 8 years across 300 routes within the country. Our service is designed to be efficient. Users can book for seats in advance, track their buses, and it is designed in a way that should be safe, affordable, and sustainable. We also ensure the highest quality of buses and drivers to assure our users of a stress-free experience to optimize the quality of the life that they live. It is also designed to contribute to reducing both traffic congestion and carbon emission during peak times. Through Shuttlers, we've provided 80 full-time employees with jobs, 300 drivers, 50 bus assistants, 160 bus companies with at least 2 direct employees, with 320 indirect fleet managers. In total, we support 700 people who rely on us to provide them with monthly income today. The second attribute was my curiosity. I started questioning systems, especially with my engineering background. I became very uncomfortable with inefficiencies and wondered how they could be improved. After a traumatic experience where my sister was robbed in a public bus called Danfo, I decided to channel my energy into creating a platform that could be both safe for myself and my family members and my friends. The third attribute was resourcefulness. In 2016, before I met my co-founder, who is the CCO, our first mobile app was WhatsApp and Google Sheets and Slack channels, where we communicated with our first 50 to 100 customers. Today, the youth of today have artificial intelligence and other innovations happening at a level and speed I could have never imagined back then. We bootstrapped for 4 years before accessing venture capital. We were already profitable and had earned as much as we raised in our first round. We raised $1.6 million and we only got 10K grants to make that in revenue. It's a great time to be young. You don't just have AI. This is also happening at a time when the transportation industry is undergoing massive transformation. Governments, companies, and industries are actively seeking climate-friendly solutions. There are now more sub-verticals in this industry, from electric vehicles to CNG-enabled vehicles to even solar-powered vehicles and even autonomous vehicles. These new industries would create demand for roles such as EV, CNG infrastructure engineers, AI engineers, specialized technicians, data scientists, fleet managers, and operators specialized in these industries. New startups will emerge and have started emerging, from battery charging and recycling to vehicle to grid integration, EV CNG conversion, fleet electrification and management, AI-based route and charging optimization. In 2024, the global transportation and logistics market was valued at approximately $6.23 trillion. It is projected to reach $9.072 trillion by 2032. Emerging markets are expected to grow faster than the developed markets during the projected period. Lastly, if you've noticed, I said I decided more than 5 times during my speech so far. And that's because it matters. I decided and I took action. You need to make a decision. Your future is in your hands. If you do not remember all the things I've said today, I hope not. Remember these few things: having a can-do spirit, a curious mind, resourcefulness, making a decision and taking action are the ways to secure a future where you not only secure a job for yourself, but for hundreds and thousands of people in your community. I hope and pray you take action today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dami. It's inspiring. What I took is not to be part of a problem, but the solution, and that's a choice, and that's a mindset. So congratulations for having done that and setting that example. So let's now begin our conversation with the rest of the panel. Let me give a little bit of ground rules, because we're going to go in 2 rounds super fast. So I'm asking all of you to be quite succinct. If we can keep the response to 2-3 minutes max, so that we can come back and try to cover as much ground before we open to Q&A. So Claudia, let me start with you. And we talked about looking at how city takes action in one of our 3 themes. Under your leadership, Bogota continues to be a regional leader in terms of integrated transport solution, but also in terms of innovative mobility strategy. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing there and where you're going with that, and how do you foster a safer and sustainable mobility for all?
Thank you, and thank you very much for all of you to be here in this panel today with us. I will start by saying that our first responsibility we have is to protect their lives, because right now 25% of the people who's dying in Bogota are young people, and 23% are getting injured. So we need to build a city to rebuild it as a way that protects our young people, our children. So that's part of like the core of every action we're taking. So we're building more cycle infrastructure. We're growing our BRT network. We're building our first metro line. So that to connect everyone to new opportunities, to live the city in a sustainable way. And also we want to reshape our streets, how to make them more livable, safer. So people really one of the things we're really working right now in this new administration is how to gain back the love of Bogotanos with their city. So so that's part of like all that we are doing, and how we can make people proud of their city. And of course, the transport sector has a huge role in this, and how we connect our people with opportunities, with going to how kids and youth are going to school, to the university, how we work together with the private sector, with the academy, and understanding how they move, how they prefer, how they live the cities, and how we can make them better for them. So we have just to make sure like different programs depend on different ages, and trying to also for them to go to school like on a bike or walking, and also together with DDCI, for example, like when we're building new cycle infrastructure, now we're working with young people, like understanding what the needs are and how they want to live their city. So we build the projects with them together, so we can have their vision into our projects and to make it better.
And any of that is helping generate employment for the youth?
Yes, well, we have like the programs that we have in the city. just to make it sure, like that the programs that we have that work with kids and everything, with kids or young people, we pretty much hire young people to be the leaders of those programs. So they have this new vision, they have the energy, of course, to work with kids and that. And also in our infrastructure projects, now we're the cities under construction, for the ones that have been there in the past year visiting us, the cities under construction. So we're also making an effort to bring young people to these works, and also women. So we're working on both ways, like having more women working with us and young people working as well with us.
Thank you from Bogota. Just to tell you, I was in Senegal about a week ago, and Colombia has exported the bus rapid transit system there, and it is changing people. It's an example of how innovation can actually be sustained and continue changing people's life, how they love their city and how they get to job safely. So thank you for that. So I want to come to Anna. We're going to move from Bogota to Ukraine. So Anna, your foundation has been working a lot, especially in women's professional integration in the transport sector. In particular, you are right now, I see, developing a concept to prepare youth for jobs in the transport sector in Ukraine. So my question to you is, tell us more about it, of course, but where do you see opportunity for youth employment, but also new transport business model? Earlier, Damilola was saying how AI is disrupting everything. How do you think about digital mobility, transport logistics, but also service-led innovation as an opportunity for employment for youth?
Thank you for your question, and I'm really happy to be here and share our experience, because in Ukraine we have a different situation, of course, and we as organization work with capacity development to private and public sectors organizations, and we believe that human capacity, human capital is the core of any organization. So this is our purpose, to training and development their skills. Because of war in Ukraine, we have a lack of male professions, and huge vacancies in different spheres. In the transport, of course, it also a huge problem, because we need more logistic and transport problem, and we need maybe we should change some focus on since maybe railway and air connection, because we haven't this in a high level, and of course we need change and focused on bus, tracks, and cars logistic. Because of this, we have actually close that 50,000 vacancies of drivers and other transport professions. So because of this, we have started 2 pilot projects to professional development and reskilling women in transport, and we have 200 women drivers on track and buses, and we're really proud of them, because they have been employment to Ukrainian companies. But this project actually highlights for us few general problems in this sphere. It's first of all, and that we actually didn't know before, this is poor material base on our state and municipal enterprises. It's difficult because youth don't want to be a part of these enterprises and work there. Also, we understand that people and youth don't know about benefits in this profession, salary opportunities and career opportunities, and they didn't want to bring this profession. Also, we know that maybe not really important thing, but also this is an issue for us, educational gaps, that our colleges and universities actually have no such a maybe modern and specific program that includes trends and digitalization also, and it's really and helpful for bring youth to this profession and all. So of course, maybe last but not least, this is a lack of communication and maybe awareness about this profession. And we know that we need to promote this profession in Ukraine. And because of this, we actually have started a new project with Ministry of Education and Ministry of Infrastructure to invite youth to this profession, and it consists of main three components. First of all, it's create professional standard of this profession because we didn't have it before. Also, we create some new programs that include international trainers and teachers. And third part, it's communication. We understand that we should to promote this profession and talk more about drivers' opportunities to promote this in the business and state sector, because it's also important for Ukraine now, because transport reform in Ukraine now, it's not about development, it's most about survive and victory. So yeah, it's important for us, and we work on it very close.
Thank you, Anna. And I'm connecting already the dot to see what is missing and what gap you need to fill and how to bring both on the supply and demand side. So thank you. Mary, coming to you now. At your service, and there is a question mark, is not sure, the promise of service-led development. Can you tell us a little bit more about your book? And in your book, you talk about opportunity of job creation in the transport sector.
No, thank you. So the question mark is a little bit because traditionally economists have put such emphasis on manufacturing and industrialization as the way to grow, and sort of look at the sort of East Asian miracle as the example. And not that there aren't still opportunities within manufacturing, but is it really required that you have to go through that before services? So we were questioning that and saying that there are, in fact, a lot of opportunities to move into services in ways that are raising productivity and will continue to be an important source of innovation. So not just more, but better jobs over time. So we were looking at different opportunities for that. And within transportation, I sort of have two sort of comments I want to make.
Please.
So one, on the sort of big picture, one of the, I would say, regulatory things that we would note is it's a sector that has a lot of natural monopolies. But even within it, you often have a lot of restrictions on entry, sort of by design. And I would say trucking and other land, like it's one thing if this is an airport or a shipping company, but within taxis, which are now increasingly being outcompeted with other ways, or trucking, that is often some of the most regulated with the most regulatory restrictions on entry. And I understand politically it gets quite sensitive because often there's connections as to who, in fact, has ownership in such a rent-seeking opportunity. So there's a political challenge there as well as economic, but it is probably the single biggest thing that restricts the ability to really expand transportation services to be able to have more jobs, et cetera. And I would say the second, I understand that you're emphasizing the importance of jobs within transportation, all in favor. But transportation services are critical for jobs in every sector of the economy. And so I would not discount or I would absolutely stress the importance that transportation, that it be safe, that it be affordable, that it be accessible for everybody to get to work. For anybody who needs to get their goods to market, those all happen through transportation services. So the multiplier effect of getting transportation services right is huge for the whole economy.
I love what you're saying because, as I said, I just came back from Africa where actually they jumped straight to services. So it's that, and also the leverage to help a little bit the whole economy go. Can you tell us a bit more about that in the context of employment for youth?
Well, so in terms of who are most often entrepreneurs, it is youth. And it is sort of where do they see new opportunities and ways of doing things. And some of them start small, some of them start a little bit bigger. There has been a lot of innovation, I think, in being able to link some of the digital with different transportation. And so some of this is happening in urban areas. I mean, what I'm actually been interested is in some of the rural areas. So for many farmers, they don't have big, trucks to be able to get things to market, and they're very much reliant on limited numbers of middlemen, and often just one. And so there's no competition, and so they don't get as good a farm price, and they're really sort of stuck. And the question was, and this is not fair, I was, the sort of quote Uber for farmers equivalent, like how do you have digital services that can be provided with smaller vehicles that more people might have a chance to own, to get to market in sort of smaller batches, and to allow some more competition that would be able to help farmers get better prices, take away some of the rents of the middlemen, I understand, but offer some more opportunities for more people who might be able to do part of that. And there's some examples where that is being able to take off. And I think we're going to come back to some digital on the second round. So I'll save.
I love that. I love the disruption that Dami talked about, because you think about how it is rent-seeking and big, and you bring young people, you have to disrupt. So love that. Digital, more to come. So let's now go to Fernanda. So Fernanda, so now we're moving, we're visiting the whole globe right now. So we're going to land in Brazil. So Fernanda, you have a very interesting entry point to this conversation, and it's capacity building and how to create internship opportunity for youth and get a sense of hands-off experience that will allow them to get more jobs. Can you tell us more about your program? And can you tell us more also about how you are looking at the skills and competencies to give a leg up or an entry point to youth in the transport sector?
So thank you. It's a pleasure to be here on in this panel. So in an ever-changing world where technology, sustainable challenges are reshaping the way we move, we think that investing in youth is not only important, it's essential. So I work at the Regulatory Agency for Transportation in São Paulo. The agents usually regulated highways and intercity bus services, but that's changing now. Under this government, the state of São Paulo is quickly expanding PPP contracts in all mobility sectors, and the agency is also reshaping itself to regulate all these sectors. So airports, metro, rails, every mobility sector. And in this context, hiring qualified people has become a huge challenge. So we have this program. That's why we have this internship program. The internship program hosts nowadays 50 interns, and we have more than 30 open vacancies. And these young professionals, they have the opportunity to work with experienced professionals in public mobility, infrastructure, urban planning. And more than a short-term experience, we intend to give them the right skills and the right experiences so they can drive in the industry well prepared. That's our deal. And in terms of skill sets, from what we see in São Paulo, I think young professionals, they should develop a combination between technical, and soft skills. Like on the technical sides, things like EI, infrastructure frameworks, regulatory frameworks, these are very, very valuable. But on the other hand, soft skills are also important, like adaptability, the capacity to work alongside public sector and the private sector. These are also valuable for us. Cooperation, very valuable for us. So at Artesp, that's the name, how we call the agency, we believe that investing in these young people is like investing in the future. It's also benefiting the agency. So we know we'll be well prepared in the future for the challenges ahead.
So one thing that I heard from the panel of young people was that the use is not the future, it's the present. So it's the present and the future. So thank you. We're going to stay with the theme of skills for young. And I want to come to Made here and wanted to ask you, in your view, from the work you're doing in Indonesia, what do you see as the biggest skill gaps to prepare young people to be successful in the transport sector?
Thank you. I think to answer your questions, I'm gonna start with give some context about Indonesia first. So transport Indonesia is a very important sectors. I think the sector itself contributes to around 7% of our economy with an economic output of more than I think 30 billions per year, and it has created around more than 300,000 jobs every year. So. And there is a forecast from our National Development Planning that by 2030, as the government of Indonesia is having this kind of energy transition, sustainable transport, that there will be around, we expect that there will be 1 million jobs by 2030. So I think with that context, one thing that I want to highlight here is that we are currently having two key issues here. Number one is that how to basically create and also improve the access to jobs and within these new transitions, and also how can we ensure that for those people that has worked in the existing sectors, the ones that working in our automakers, the one that working in our ICE bus sectors, can also have equal opportunity to others to these green transitions. So I think these two things that it's really important that we need to address this one, have really focus on that situations. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about our experience working with the government of Indonesia on that. Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna talk a bit about our experience working with the Bali government on the Bali Electric Mobility Action Plan, when basically. We developed this plan in 2022 with basically with the goals that the Bali wants to accelerate their electric mobility. So there's a transition in this transport sector. So basically we created some kind of efficiency, the government created efficiency, we set up at the target. And one thing that I want to highlight is here that how can we set up the core strategy. So basically we developed a 5 core strategy in our plan. So the number one is about the management and governance. The second one is about infrastructure. And the third one is, this is the things that I want to highlight here, is that the Bali government puts the human resource elements in their core strategy, in their 5 years plan. So the fundamental of this plan is actually because we and Bali government realized that when we are talking about this transition to electric mobility, we want to ensure that there will be a local participations, a youth participations in this transition, and make sure that there will be will be fair competitions with foreign resources to also the local one. So that's why we set up the targets and also integrate that with the education agency. So the Bali government set up the EV training modules to the vocational schools, to the polytechnics, to the university. And then we also created an incubation program to ensure that there will be a youth-led and also startups to also can participate in this transition, and also we also have a online self-training programs, so on EV and also on the sustainable transport. So basically, with this, that we have seen that this is a good evidence to ensure youth and also jobs transition within also the local economy. And we have now, because of this program, we see that there's some impact that currently we're seeing. First, we see a very significant increase in terms of the electric mobility, but we also seen a significant increase on youth participations in Bali in terms of the electric mobility, because the local SMEs there also involved in the creating what products to EV in Indonesia, especially for the electric motorcycles.
Love this. So we finished the first round of questions. It's going to get harder because you need to go much faster, all of you. So my task, I'm going to ask simpler question. I'm going to cut the question into, you cut the response into. Do we have a deal? All right. Let's start with Anna. So now you win when you're super fast. So the question is getting into the second part, which is about innovation and how leveraging new technology can foster greater youth participation, not just today, but in tomorrow's transport solution. So my question to you, how can youth-led led innovation help address tomorrow's challenge, especially in creating opportunities for underrepresented people? 2 minutes.
Okay, I will be really quickly because we think that when we started to work with YOS, we plan to create some online platform to bring all information about this profession, about guarantees and rights of drivers and another transport profession, and to change achievements to learn and to study, because we want to focus on unofficial learning podcasts, some interesting methods to study, because it's also interesting. And now we understand that most people don't can't sit and study a long time. They need short information in a good way, in a very interesting form. So we focused on this, and our platform will support it by 2 ministries of education and transport, and they also help us with bring information and focus main information for other beneficiaries.
I love that, because we have different sort of people, and it's fascinating to have what you're proposing in your platform to attend to their differences. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So Mary, I'm coming to you super fast. Can you share emerging technology trends in transport services that have contributed to job creation, especially again for underrepresented communities? We stay with the theme.
So I very quickly sort of on the emerging technology being digital
Yes.
and how they can offer. So particularly for people who are in underrepresented, they often have had fewer options and are not as connected.
Yes.
But I would say the biggest way to open opportunities is addressing issues of trust on three different
Trust.
dimensions. So one is safety, which we've talked about in terms of making transportation safe, particularly if there's not as many people on the mode. And the importance that a digital footprint can have in making people feel that they can trust the system more, because people can tell who is on there, who isn't, and it's not a perfect solution, but it's a much better than nothing solution. Another sort of dimension on trust is digital payments. So being able to pay digitally, so you don't have to have money on you. And if you're the driver, you're not collecting money. Being able to have digital payments makes a lot of transportation safer. It also enables far more other goods and services to be able to be exchanged. And the other piece of it is dispute resolution. So you think of e-commerce, right? So in much of sub-Saharan Africa, it's still cash on delivery, because people can't trust that you can leave something because it may not be there, or it may not be what you paid for. So working on access to sort of those basic property rights and contract enforcement for everybody would open up far more opportunities for more people.
Fabulous. I love that. So let's go to Claudia. Claudia, what can public authorities like yourselves, what can they do to further leverage technology for you and youth-led innovation in designing the transport of tomorrow?
Well, I'll divide it in two. Like, first, I think that there is a big challenge, at least in our country, I'll say, to make it for youth people to make them work at the public sector something that it's really like, like that it's worth it, that to be there to work for, in my case, for our city. So we need to find ways to make it attractive for young people to come here and work with us. And also, once they are there, how we retain them, because the private sector, it's more attractive sometimes. So, and I believe we need young people together with us, because they bring this innovation, their creativity and everything. And we also, like, part of the challenge is how we, I'll say, like, how we get this marriage between generations, because there's people who has been there working for 20, 30 years that they know best, or, and there's these new young people coming and wanting to, like, change everything and coming up with this, lots of it, with these ideas. And part of, like, from a leading perspective is how we manage to, for both works to work together and make the best out of it. And on the other side is how we have partnerships with think tanks, like these new innovations, and how we, from the public sector, bring them and to work with us. Sometimes it's not that easy just to say, I want to work with this think tank or this organization directly. I know there's a lot of legal issues there, but we need to find a way to how we connect those innovations together with the public sector and combine them and make those ideas happen from the public sector and support them or to bring more ideas into the city and actually implement them.
I really like the point about it's not just attract, retain, and support, but it's also about coexisting, mentoring and reverse mentoring in a way that is really a true partnership. So thank you for that. So we're going to transition to our last part, which is the topic of public-private partnership, especially their role in fostering job creation and as well green and resilient transport solution. Made, I'm coming back to you again, 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes. And my question to you is, based on your experience, when you think of public and private partnership, how can they work together to sort of create an environment that is conducive to innovation, that is conducive to startups, and that still at the same time can also ensure that you have a pipeline of job opportunities that include young people?
I think I'm going to answer that with what I see, what the public and private partnership can do on creating job is how they can basically provide a what I call industry link capacity building program. So basically try to match what the industry needs and also to provide a skills and capacity buildings to local peoples, to youth, in terms of these jobs transitions. Because I've seen a really good experience also when I work in Bali with the Bali government, when we created the incubation program for the local startup there. So what we did is we try to gather all the local startups, local low carbon technologies providers in Bali and try to strengthen their business model. We provide a capacity building with them, but also what we wants to ensure that they will have an access to the finance and also access to the industry. So the government of Bali is trying to link that with basically what the industry needs right now in Bali. So we've seen that, like for example, in Bali right now, we have a dedicated EV conversions service provider. When I say EV conversions, basically a service that replace the ICE vehicles, ICE machines, and replace that with batteries. So we have a conversion-based vehicle, so you don't need to buy a new EV. So good for the congestions. So right now it's locally produced in Bali. And we see that when we are talking about electric mobility transition, there's a link to industry to these local SMEs in Bali. So the government and WR Indonesia, we support that to provide a capacity building, try to scale up the supply, the service providers, so ensure that they have this kind of like a public-private partnerships in terms of the jobs transitions for the electric mobility in Bali.
I love that because you have both regulation, but you have also linkage to the industry and creating a pipeline for you to also get there. So really a comprehensive approach. I want to go to Fernanda. Same question. What do you think is the role of public-private partnership to help promote innovative solution for youth in the transport sector and also a pipeline?
Sure. I think my question links to what Mary said in the first round. That's like expanding the transport network. We have double effect on opportunities because young people, they will be both beneficiaries from this bigger network, and they will also be future professionals in the sector. So I have two examples on that. Transportation systems, they are like lifelines. They connect people to jobs, services, high schools, And in São Paulo, we are now structuring a project that will be, we hope it will be financed by the bank. And that's the extension of our line 4, Metro Line 4. It's the first time that the metro in São Paulo is going to go away from the city, from one city to another, from São Paulo to Taboão da Serra. And we made a study, and once implemented, people residing in a 2 kilometers radius from these new stations, they will have 54.5 more jobs access within a 60 minutes ride. And the access to high school will be increased by 26.2%. This means like that 100,000 people, young people ages 15 to 24, will have better access to educational opportunities. And second, these large scale investments in the sector also creates the opportunity to new jobs in their areas, like cutting edge technologies that are well suited for the youth. So also in São Paulo, we have another project to transition from traditional signal system to a European rail traffic management system that was never implemented in the city. And we know that probably we have to develop new solutions, technological solutions that will probably be done by the young people that work in this area, by young engineers, young IT professionals. So that's an example. So you have more accessibility. These people have more opportunities when they have good traffic, and they also have new jobs opportunities.
Fantastic. The last question, I want to go back to Claudia. It's very nice to have public-private, but what is the role of the public to attract the private? What do you have to put in terms of policies, in terms of regulatory framework, so that the private feels that they can invest, but they can invest also in jobs that create opportunity for young people? And how does it change in fragile contexts when you have violence or you have other issues?
Well, I think that you just covered my points, that actually what our job will say is to really give the confidence to the private sector that our policies are there to be implemented, that our regulatory framework is strong enough to survive any, different situations, and that the police, the policy, even though the different scenarios or risks there could be, like, they are going to stay there and they are permanent and they won't change just because there are small external changes that could affect that. So from us is to have, we have these different policies that all go to, the same goal. So we need to, let's say, we have our low and zero emissions policy, and it covers, and it's a long-term policy, and it has these different goals that need to be met through time. So this is a long-term policy, and what are, and we all working through that goal. So if we want to have a public transportation that is zero emissions, so, and we give that to, we have all the regulatory framework, the policy and everything set up, and we are committed to it, that will allow the private sector to commit to that policy as well and to make all investments. So it's, it basically really briefly is to show that policies are there to be implemented and that we are committed to that, and it's not just writing paper and we're doing something else. It's just, be coherent on what it's there, and that we all working to make it happen.
So I'm hearing regulatory certainty. That is not something that will change, but I'm hearing also commitment and trust, which is a word that Mary had used also in her intervention. So we started with Damilola talking about curiosity, talking about mindset, can-do attitude, and being a solution, not a burden. I think that every single one of the panel members today, from wherever they're sitting, are showing that there's a way to really have in the transport sector opportunity for youth, opportunity for innovation, and opportunity for employment. So thank you to all of you, and we will open now for questions from the panel. We have about 10 minutes. So I hope that we're able also to connect. It's like actually 5 minutes, so short question, no comment, to the point. Yes, and to who you want your question to go to.
Yes, thank you.
I'll take another one. Yeah. Oh, somebody lined up. He was like, I go where the ball goes, not where the puck is. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mario. I'm based in Montreal, but I've lived in 5 countries in Europe, North America, and Latin America. And one thing I'm curious about, look around this room. How many people here are 30 or under?
It's bold.
So my question is, another stat that I'm familiar with is in North America, 80% of drivers are 30 and older. So what happens from 30 to over? They switch to cars. So the question I have for your panelists, I'm currently developing a mobility challenge for end of this month. I have the opposite problem. Many youth, not so many professionals. So how do you get them in the same room? How do you engage youth? How do you get them interested in mobility? How do you get them to have a voice?
Who's interested by this question? Raise your hand. One. Okay, let's take a second one assigned to Claudia.
Yes, pretty much it's aligned with his question. Youth are not going to be always youth to begin with. So my work here at the bank is as consultant is working on lifelong learning strategies, thinking in the future, right? So that's the question. What are you doing to, like, long term, thinking what's going to happen in the future? You know, to invest now as a youth. By the way, I would like to hear the definition of being youth. What segment of the population are we talking about here?
Mental
Right.
youth.
Because
That's where I am right now.
in the developing world, being youth is up to 30 or 32, and that's it. And then you're considered old or elderly,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And that's a mistake, in my view. Also working aging mechanisms anyway. So the question is, what are you looking at? What, you know, like thinking in the future, what are you doing now to invest on what it be next in the next 15 or 20 years? Thank you.
Who wants that question? I'm going to dispatch it fast. I see. Come on. Fernanda. Last one. Any last question? Okay, let's go with this first two. Claudia
Okay,
and
so
Fernanda.
if I remember correctly, I don't see you. Yes. Okay. So one of the things we do when we want to build a project, let's say a small scale project, not like a metro, but when we want to make changes in a neighborhood. So we look at what's going on the neighborhood or the area. And if we have schools, so we will go and work together with the school, and we will collect all the different data, like how the kids move around, like that the school area, how they feel about their environment, you know, like the surroundings of the school and everything. So we get that, you know, like insights, and we build, you know, like the design together with them on how we can make the streets better. The same with communities when we go to the residential areas. So we try to, you know, have people from all different ages and at first understand what, you know, like how they feel, what they expect, and how we can come up with a solution that meets the different, you know, like I would say feelings, because then from the technical perspective, we go with the technical solution, but taking into account how they feel the city and or their environment and how they feel like that should be the way. Sometimes even they don't really, like, they don't know what they want, like they don't know. I mean, they come up with the solution, let's say, like this, they say I need this, but then when you start asking them, like, really how do you feel about, like the streets and what is there, then they wouldn't know they were needed something else. Let's say they ask for a pedestrian bridge, but when you ask them why, it's because they don't feel safe. It's because they feel like cars are driving too fast. So it's like, okay, so maybe you don't need a pedestrian bridge. You need like to have traffic calming measures around it, and like, so it's sort of like having the opportunity to understand them, listen to them, but also to start like a conversation around what is the city we want to build and why we're doing what we're doing, and at the end is to protect them, to make trips safer. So that's a way to connect with community in a way. Did I answer your question?
Thank you, Claudia. So Fernanda and then Dami for the last word, 1 minute each, because we're 3 minutes and I want to finish on time.
Okay, so I think our test piece, like internship program, is a good answer to your question, because that's what we are trying to do. Like, we are trying to attract these young people, but also to maintain them there in government or in the sector. And I think Edipo, that stays here, is a great example of that, because he started in the sector, like, how old were you? 18, in this young professional program. And he worked at CPTM, which is a state-owned company that runs the rail commuter network in São Paulo. And he stayed there forever, and now he's at the World Bank as a specialist consultant. And so that's it. We are investing in the youth, hoping that they will stay there and continuing to work in this industry that has so specific knowledge, so they can drive in better and stay there in this industry with all these knowledges.
I love that. We have our own example. Last word to our keynote speaker, Demi, close us out.
Yes, so I wanted to mention that there are key ways to make this industry attractive to the youth. One of the programs that we run in the company is called Next Gen. And we started this 2 years ago. We run like 2-3 cohorts in a year. When we started, I personally went to my university and shared my own success story. So one tip is to find a young founder that has done something in that field that the young folks can relate to. And after I shared my story and encouraged them to apply for the internship, it has grown to a program where before we announce it, we have over 2,000 people on waiting list to join the internship. And we can take only maybe 10 or 20 by batch. And we made our platform also very exciting and colorful and fun and cool, so that they would aspire to be part of the community and aspire to be part of the company as well.
Fabulous. Thank you for your attention, and thank you to the panel. A round of applause. Yeah. Well done. You're so impressive. May God be with you.